When a blind tween calls a maid MOM, this millionaire's arrogance crumbles forever. In the opulent mansion of Hudson's St. Clair, where marble floors glisten and gold-plated chandeliers hang like constellations, an unusual incident is brewing. The air buzzes with a strange tension, heavy and electric. Just yesterday, the world's wealthiest tycoon smiled down from his sprawling penthouse office, his arrogance shimmering like his meticulously polished watch. But today, destiny has thrown him into turmoil. The soft, blind girl named Lily, only 12 and wrapped in a cloud of innocence, stands in the grand foyer. Her unseeing eyes are a window to a universe unknown, locked away by darkness, yet filled with strange insights. Lily, with her wild, curly hair framing her face and her trusty cane tapping rhythmically against the marble, gazes upward as if waiting for something or someone to strike a chord in the silence. The household staff, usually bustling with routine and chatter, freeze. They hold their breath, anticipation crackling. What could this modest child say to shake the very foundation of this empire? The door swings open, and in strides Hudson, his tailored suit sharp enough to cut glass. He casts a shadow that flattens the room. A flicker of annoyance dances across his face as his eyes scan the space. What is that blind girl doing here again? A mere maid's kid, right? Or is she something more? The question is as potent as a loaded weapon. The tension escalates, revealing the delicate nature of power and perception. What do you want? He snaps, but even as he speaks, a seed of doubt plants itself deep in his gut. There is something about her, something that unnerves him. Before Lily can respond, the air belts out her words like a thunderclap. I want you to be my dad. Gasps ripple through the crowd. The maids, their hearts thundering, exchange wide-eyed glances, the electric buzz turning into a tornado of whispers. Who is this girl to shatter his world? The walls around Hudson go from solid stone to crumbling dust in an instant. The lump in his throat nearly suffocates him. What did you say? He croaks, disbelief hanging heavy in the air. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The silence stretches out, thick and heavy, like molasses poured over sorrow. Mom. His heart races, frantically looking around, every glossy surface reflecting confusion and panic. What does this blind girl know of his hidden truths? Whispers and nods echo within the crowd, their eyes dancing between disgust and intrigue. Hudson's expression darkens, yet in the back of his mind, doubt weaves its way through his certainty. Behind the confident facade, there's a crack growing wider. Every moment feels like a countdown, the air heavier with expectation. As Lily stands firm, an unexpected chill crawls up Hudson's spine. The maid, typically invisible among the gold and glass, now seems caught in the crossfire of something monumental. His power shaken. The room holds its breath, caught between the child's impossible plea and the man's crumbling arrogance. Can he face the truth lurking in her words? Or will it all come crashing down? As questions swirl in the minds around him, Hudson realizes he is standing at the edge of a precipice, and upon that edge, a blind girl fights. What happens next? The silence finally shatters, but instead of the chaos everyone expected, it's a soft voice that cuts through. I know you're scared, Mr. St. Clair, Lily says, her words deliberate. But fear can build walls, or it can let light in. Hudson's breath catches. The nerve of this girl. How dare she challenge him? His empire built on ruthless ambition, yet here she stands, speaking with the kind of authority he forgot existed. The maids shift uneasily, senses heightened, ready for a reaction from their master. What do you know about fear? He growls, furious at the vulnerability creeping into his thoughts. You don't know anything about me, or about what you've lost. Lily counters, her voice smooth like a gentle stream flowing through chaos. I might not see, but I feel. I feel your emptiness. It's there, heavy in the air. Every word hits Hudson like a hammer. The room, suddenly too small to contain the weight of her truth, seems to retreat away from him. His fingers twitch against the polished surface of the grand staircase, each brushstroke reminding him of the fortune that amounts to nothing without genuine connection. The maids glance at each other, their eyes wide. An unexpected tension cradles the moment. They had seen Hudson wield his power over the years, and yet, today, he stands crestfallen under the gaze of a child. Suddenly, a sharp voice breaks the atmosphere. Juliet, the head maid, steps forward. "Lily, honey, that's not don't." Hudson interrupts, panic evident in his tone. "Let her speak." The determination in Lily's voice sends a shiver down Hudson's spine. "You were not always this way. I can tell you once cared. You were happy. I don't want to take anything from you. I just want a connection that matters." There's a flicker of something sadness, perhaps regret behind Hudson's hardened exterior. Memories seep through the cracks of his carefully constructed wall, images of a younger version of himself, laughing with his own family before the world twisted him into an unrecognizable form of ambition. His heart races as guilt wraps around him like a shroud. "Family?" He spits, defiance bubbling up. "You think you can just walk in here and demand that kind of relationship? I'm not your father." "Maybe not yet," Lily replies. "But the truth is, you could be." What happens next? All eyes are on him. The maids, the staff, and even the universe seem to hang in the balance, waiting for a response. A bead of sweat trickles down Hudson's temple. "Why me?" he asks, his voice unsteady. "I'm nothing but a businessman." "No," Lily says firmly, each word punctuating the air. "You're a man who has forgotten how to dream." The room gasps again, a collective intake of breath echoing the urgency of the moment. Lily's words hang like a storm cloud, heavy and foreboding. Fear washes over him. What if this girl is right? What if he is doomed to loneliness? In that moment, Hudson is faced with a choice. Ignore her, shut her out again, or step into the light she is presenting. "Why would I want to be your dad?" He presses, seeking a way to push her away without entirely dismissing her boldness. "Because every child needs a chance, and every lost heart needs redemption." With that, the bomb drops again, leaving everyone pondering his next move. Hudson stands suspended, caught between the remnants of his past and the shadows of his future. The tension pierces the air, bruising hope and possibility. How long can he hold his ground against a blind girl's unwavering conviction? And more importantly, what hidden depths will he uncover about himself if he dares to step closer? As the moment spins on a knife's edge, a sudden realization dawns on Hudson. A new fear gnaws at him. What if taking that step results in loss beyond his darkest imagination? The stillness quivers, as if the very air is holding its breath. Hudson's heart pounds a quickened rhythm, each beat drumming out a desperate warning. He senses the eyes of the maids on him, their silent judgment blending with a buzz of anticipation. What does every little detail mean? Lily's unyielding gaze pierces through him, cutting away the layers of bravado he's worn like armor for years. "You're afraid, but that fear doesn't define you. It's just a door you've closed behind you. Open it, and the light will flood in." He shakes his head, trying to dispel the tumult of emotions threatening to escape. "What do you know about my life? You don't know me," he growls, frustration leaking into his tone. "Maybe I don't," she replies, each syllable gentle but firm, "but I know you're lonely. You may have riches, but without love, they're just empty walls." The truth of her words strikes him again, sharp as a knife. He glances around the massive room, the opulence, the decorations, even the staff, all observed yet void of warmth and connection. A flicker of anger rises within him. "You think I care what you feel? I'm not here to play games with children." "But you are," she insists. "You can either choose to be a father figure, or continue being the man who drives everyone away. What are you going to do?" Hudson's hands tremble on the banister as he wrestles with his internal battle. The past whispers memories long buried, voices of laughter and joy, echoes of a life he lost. Juliet steps forward, her brow furrowed. "Lily, honey, let us leave him be. This is too much." "Stop." Hudson snaps, an edge of desperation creeping into his voice. The room falls silent again, as if a magnet has pulled all sound away. "You don't get to run from this. He continues, looking deeply into Lily's sightless eyes that somehow seem to pierce right through him. The sight paralyzes him, her calmness against his storm. What if I can't? What if I mess it up? Then you try again, she answers. It's what we do. We get up, and we try again. Life is full of chances, Mr. St. Clair. Her words hang in the air, and Hudson feels them weaving into the fabric of his being. It stirs something deep within, a longing, a faint flicker of hope he thought extinguished long ago. But doubt gnaws at him viciously. Could he really become anything more than a man cloaked in his empire? Could he genuinely seek connection? Why me? I'm just a businessman, he repeats weakly, almost pleading. You're so much more than that, she says, kindness threading through her tone. You have the chance to be something greater, all of us do. But you have to let go of the past. The silence swells again as Hudson's breath quickens, his stomach knots tight. The back of his mind murmurs caution. Each word Lily speaks is a pull toward vulnerability, and he knows where that road leads. And what if I fail? Then you'll fail, she shrugs, simplicity lending scared honesty to her response. But wouldn't you rather try? There's a stillness now, a moment hanging suspended, filled with tension and possibility. All the maids shift on their feet, waiting, holding their breath as Hudson stands at the brink of a decision that could change everything. Instead of answering, he senses something in the air, a shift that sends his pulse racing. He glances at Juliet, her eyes brimming with encouragement. Hudson, she whispers, firm yet cautious, you have the power to change. The question is, will you? As if someone has flipped a switch, the deafening quiet gets under his skin. Suddenly, every shadow in the room looms larger, every whisper louder. The gravity of the choice consuming him grows unbearable. What happens next could fracture his world further or breathe life into the cavern of his lost dreams and fraying heart. His breath hitches, a wave of anxiety washing over him. Afraid of what that shift could signify, his mind races. Could it really matter? Could this blind girl actually see something in him he didn't see? And then, the unthinkable happens. A shattering cry echoes from outside, piercing the unyielding tension of the room. What now? Hudson thinks, his heart sinking as dread coils around him once more. Was he prepared for what awaited? Or would this moment unravel him completely? The cry sent a jolt through Hudson's veins, as sharp as a bolt of lightning. Every head in the room turned towards the source of the sound. The gasp from the maids mingled with Juliet's worried murmur. What was that? The silence that followed was a taut string, ready to snap. Hudson's mind raced. An accident? A threat? Whatever it was, it shattered the fragile moment he was teetering on. He tore his gaze from the expectant faces around him, drawing himself up tall and steady. Stay here, he commanded, his voice low and forced. He felt urgency clawing at his chest, but he couldn't show fear. Not now. Lily stepped forward, her hand reaching out towards him. Wait, Hudson. You don't know what's out there. But he was already striding toward the door, ignoring the way his heart thumped between his ribs. Outside, the soft afternoon sun clashed harshly with the cold reality that awaited him. As he opened the door, chaos exploded in front of him. The garden, usually serene, was alive with commotion. The frightened shrieks of children mingled with the frantic whispers of the staff. His eyes darted across the scene like a searchlight. What had happened? His breath caught as he spotted Kenneth, a stable boy, crouched protectively over something on the ground. The sight sent a chill racing down his spine. Kenneth's face was ghostly pale, panic etched into the corners of his youthful features. Move aside, Hudson barked, pushing through the crowd that had gathered. The softness of his earlier resolve shattered in the wake of fear. He reached Kenneth and knelt beside him, his breath quickening at the sight before him. It was Lily's small guide dog, Daisy, curled on the ground, her body still. Terrified gasps surrounded them, and Hudson's heart lurched. What happened? Kenneth's voice trembled. I don't know. She was chasing a squirrel, and then she's just lying there. The anguished murmur of the onlookers washed over Hudson like a wave, threatening to drown him. He could feel their eyes, judging, waiting for him to act. And yet, the thought of taking Daisy to a veterinarian felt empty. What if it was too late? Conflicting thoughts churned within him, the notion of love and loss, mingled with his own vulnerabilities. Then, a soft, yet fierce voice cut through the turmoil. Don't lose her, Hudson. You can help. It was Lily. She had made her way to his side, propelled by something deeper than fear, something almost sacred. I can't just watch her die. His voice cracked, palpable fear echoing in every syllable. Then do something. Her blind eyes searched for him like a lighthouse in a storm. You have to believe you can save her. A piercing whistle sounded, like a spark igniting a fire within him. He could do something, anything. He fumbled in his pocket for his phone. Call for help. We need a vet. His hands shook, fingers pressing the buttons with urgency. Please hurry, he shouted, the breath of hope mingling with desperation. As he waited for the call to connect, he felt the weight of every uncertain moment crashing down around him. Kenneth, still wide-eyed, grasped at Hudson's sleeve. What do I do? Stay with her. Pet her. Keep her calm, Hudson instructed, his voice steadier now, gratefulness flooding him for Kenneth's brave presence. And as the boy complied, Hudson glanced at Lily. Her essence was a soothing balm amid the chaotic storm. Maybe, just maybe, she was right. Perhaps he could be more than the man who built walls, the man who let fear dictate every choice. Just then, the world around him froze. A figure emerged from the dispersing crowd, her expression locked in horror. Hoarse cries bubbled up from her chest, as if she had seen the unthinkable. Hudson followed her gaze, dread coiling tighter than ever. What had she seen? Would the chaos of this moment tear apart everything he'd just begun to mend? The ground fell away beneath Hudson as he faced the woman, a maid named Clara, whose face twisted with terror. Her wide eyes reflected a horror that surpassed the chaos of the garden. To the gate, she gasped between breaths. Hudson's heart thundered in his ears. What about the gate? Panic edged into his tone, and he steadied himself against the urgency swirling around him. Someone got in, she cried, looking behind her as if fearing that removal of her gaze would evoke whatever horror lurked just beyond their threshold. I saw them. They were running towards the house. A chill skittered up Hudson's spine. He whipped his head around, scanning the edge of the garden for any sign of movement. The staff was returning to their posts, eyes wide with uncertainty, while the blossoming flowers seemed to mock the tension weaving through the air. Stay with Daisy, he barked. Without waiting for Kenneth's agreement, he rushed toward the path leading to his home, adrenaline pounding through his veins. Who had dared to breach this sanctuary? With every step, memories flashed in his mind, a recent history riddled with betrayal and secrets. He recalled the whispers he had dismissed, the rumors always hushed when he walked by. But now, they haunted him, clawing against the comfort of his FAA. As he reached the entrance to the mansion, he noticed the massive oak door slightly ajar. It creaked ominously as he pushed it further open. Darkness loomed inside, swallowing the corridor whole. His senses heightened. He could smell fear, the kind that lingered after a storm. Could it be true? Could someone possibly be inside, taking what wasn't theirs? Thoughts raced through him, colliding violently. If they had opened that gate, would they want something from him? Or worse, someone? He reached for his phone, his fingers trembling as he hit the emergency contact. But before he could activate the call, an echoing crash rang out from the kitchen. Glass shattered, splattering jagged sounds that sliced through the silence. This isn't for you, Hudson, he whispered to himself, feeling the fear grab him by the throat. He was not just a man of privilege. He was a protector, a wall against impending chaos. He had to be brave. Who's there? He shouted into the dark, determination filling his voice even as his heart threatened to leap from his chest. The shadows remained still, a foreboding silence enveloping him. Hudson stepped cautiously down the hall, eyes locked on the dim room beyond the kitchen. The flickering lights above pulsed like a heartbeat. With every cautious step, the memories of taking on challenges, the ones that had shaped the man he had become, fueled him. But then he heard light footsteps, almost a whisper. They were moving away, retreating into the depths of the house. A surge of instinct pushed him forward. I'm not afraid of you, he shouted into the darkness, fueled by impulsive bravery. As he approached the kitchen, he caught a glimpse of a figure slipping through the back door into the depths beyond. Hudson charged after them, adrenaline scouring through him like wildfire. The unseen intruder darted out, just beyond reach, silhouetted against the waning evening light. Stop, Hudson yelled, desperation surging through him. Who are you? The figure glanced behind, a flash of uncertainty crossing their features before they dashed into the thickening shadows. Hudson's instincts screamed at him to give chase, but doubt clawed at him, ever in the back of his mind. What awaited him out there? The chase had begun. What awaited him in those shadows? Would he confront the danger head-on, or would he find answers that were better left in the dark? The moment Hudson burst through the back door, the cool night air hit him like a splash of ice water. The shadows stretched long and dark, merging with the dense thickets that surrounded the estate. He scanned the grounds, heart hammering, breath quickening as he tried to catch a glimpse of the fleeting figure. They were fast, too fast. "Who are you?" he shouted again, but the only answer was the rustling of leaves in the wind. He felt a chill creep down his spine that had nothing to do with the cold. The sense of someone wanting to harm him or someone he cared about settled heavily in his chest. The light from the mansion spilled out like a beacon, dancing over the grass and illuminating patches of the yard. He could hear Clara's frantic voice in his head, warning him about the intruder. Every instinct told him to retreat, to pull back to safety, yet his feet felt rooted to the ground. Suddenly, a low growl broke the silence. Hudson's gaze snapped to the left. Out from the shadows emerged a large dog, baring its teeth, standing protectively over the underbrush. The animal's eyes glinted with a predatory edge. What if the intruder had trained it? "Easy there, buddy," he murmured, trying to calm the beast while assessing his next move. He edged closer to the dog, hoping it would recognize his intention and not see him as a threat. His palms were sweaty, and panic gnawed at him. Before he could react, the dog lunged, darting through the trees as if chasing after something or someone. Hudson's heart raced even faster. He needed to follow but felt trepidation looming over him. Every step into the unfamiliar darkness felt like an invitation to disaster. Just as he turned to push deeper into the shadows, a scream echoed through the air, sharp, piercing. It went right through him. The sound rang out from the direction of the stables. It was unmistakable, a primal cry filled with fear. Was it Clara? Or someone far more vulnerable? Without thinking, Hudson sprinted towards the sound, the adrenaline now coursing through him like a wildfire. The stables loomed ahead, rustic and ominous, illuminated by the dim glow of a single lantern hanging from a nail on the door. "Hello?" he called out, the uncertainty in his voice palpable. "Is anyone there?" He approached the stable door cautiously, pushing it open with a creak that sliced through the night. Inside, he found chaos scattered, tools overturned, and the distinct smell of panic in the air. "Hurry! In here!" a voice whispered urgently. It was Clara, pale and trembling, pointing shakily to a dark corner where a small figure huddled that Hudson's chest tightened. "Daisy." He rushed to the corner and found Daisy curled up, shaking. The terror in her eyes made his heart drop. "I'm right here, Daisy." "It's okay," he encouraged her, reaching out. But just as he reached to pull her close, a loud crash echoed from behind him. He whipped around to see the silhouette of the intruder, a person stepping out of the shadows, now blocking their exit, a menacing figure with dark clothing clinging to their body. "You should have stayed away," the intruder growled, voice dripping with malice. Adrenaline surged as Hudson pushed Daisy behind him, instinctively adopting a protective stance. "What do you want?" he challenged, his voice steadier than he felt inside. The figure smirked. "You really have no idea." Hudson's mind raced. What did that mean? Were there deeper secrets hidden within the walls of his own home? Where had this person come from, and why were they here? Then it hit him like a punch to the gut. This was only the beginning. He had to figure out who was threatening his family, but more importantly, he needed to uncover the past that had led them to this moment. What had he missed? What secrets lay hidden in the dark corners of his own life, waiting to come to light? The answers loomed like shadows in the back of his mind, and the darkness was only just beginning to close in. The intruder stepped forward, asserting dominance as thick tension filled the stables. Every muscle in Hudson's body tensed. He could sense danger, could feel it winding tighter around them like a noose. The dark figure's eyes gleamed like polished coal, a stark contrast against the dim backdrop. "Step aside, kid," the intruder ordered, voice low and threatening. Clara's grip on Hudson's arm tightened, fear etched into her features. "We can't let him show," Hudson hissed, cutting her off. He couldn't let panic dictate their next move. If they were trapped, He had to keep his wits about him for Daisy's sake. But Daisy's small body trembled, her wide eyes darting between Hudson and the scary figure looming near the door. "I want to go home," she whimpered, and those words hit him like a cold gust of wind. Home was supposed to be safe. "Not yet," the intruder replied, as if reading Daisy's thoughts. "You're not going anywhere." Hudson's heart raced at the menace in that voice. "What do you want with us?" he demanded again, trying to sound braver than he felt. The figure laughed, a chilling sound that echoed in the enclosed barn. "What do I want? Oh, you'll see. But first, I need to send a message." Without warning, he lunged toward them. Hudson reacted instinctively, putting himself between the intruder and Daisy. He shoved Daisy behind his back, ready to protect her at all costs. The tension in the air crackled like electricity. Clara screamed, a raw, visceral sound that pierced the night. It snapped Hudson's focus for a split second, but that was all it took. The intruder's arm swung out, and a sharp glint of metal caught the lantern light before his mind could register it. In a flash, Hudson ducked, narrowly avoiding the blade aimed just above his head. The sound of metal scraping would reverberate around them, as fear surged through him like a lightning bolt. "Get back!" he shouted, and his heart pounded, matched only by the frantic beat of his thoughts. He needed to think. They needed an escape. Clara moved toward the door, eyes wide with alarm. "We have to get out. He is going to hurt us." "No," Hudson barked, glancing quickly toward the alleyway behind the hay bales. It would be a risk, but it was their best chance. "Follow me. If we can get to the back," but before he could finish, the intruder was on him again, pushing him hard against a wall of hay. Hudson felt the breath knocked from his lungs, the pressure tightening around his chest as he struggled to fight back. He didn't have a chance to retaliate before a sharp pain blossomed on his side. Something had cut him. Daisy gasped, and that sound alone sent a surge of adrenaline coursing through Hudson. He couldn't let fear take control. "A message?" he croaked, regaining his footing and bracing for another attack. "You can't hurt us without a reason." The intruder paused, and for a brief moment, Hudson saw uncertainty flicker across his face. "You really think you're special? No one is safe here. Not you, not your family. You've stirred up a storm, and I'm just the one to drown you in it." A wave of confusion washed over Hudson. What storm? But he had little time to ponder. The thrum of danger charged the air, and he had to act before it was too late. With all his strength, he lunged forward, surprising the intruder. They collided, crashing into the pile of hay. Hudson's hopes rose. Clara might be ready to bolt. He could almost hear her heart pounding, see the determination on her face. "Go," he yelled to her over the chaos. "Get Daisy outside now." She hesitated, fear flashing in her eyes as she glanced back at Hudson. "But now," he roared, grappling with the intruder. In that split second, Clara turned on her heels and sprinted for the door, dragging Daisy with her. But would they escape in time? In the chaos, Hudson feared what would unfold once they left the loose confines of the stable. Something deeper lurked in the shadows beyond the dark storm, waiting to be unleashed. This was far from over. What had he stirred up, and what was waiting in the wings? The darkness held more than just one predator. What lay ahead was a tangled web of secrets, and Hudson was determined to uncover it before it swallowed them all. Hudson's lungs burned as he wrestled with the intruder. Every surge of energy felt drained from him with each strike. He could feel the intruder's breath, hot and rancid against his face, as they rolled through the hay, the prickly strands scratching at his skin. Just then, a terrifying silence enveloped the barn. Clara's scream seemed to echo in his mind, the fear in her voice slashing through the chaos as if reality were unraveling before him. Had they gotten away? Had he made the right choice? The intruder pressed him hard into the dusty ground. Hudson felt the sharp edge of metal graze his cheek. Panic clawed at his throat. He couldn't lose this fight, not now. "Where are they?" Hudson panted, but the dark figure merely smirked, eyes glinting with vicious delight. "Does it matter?" he hissed. "You want to see them again." With a wild surge of adrenaline, Hudson managed a brutal shove, sending the intruder sprawling backward into a stack of hay bales. In that fleeting moment, Hudson scrambled to his feet, adrenaline surging through him like fire. "Clara! Daisy!" His voice thundered in the small space, desperation sharpening each syllable. The outside air flooded back into his lungs as he glimpsed the door. But getting there was another battle. The intruder had recovered and was lunging at him once more, rage on his face. Hudson dove sideways, adrenaline dulling the pain at his side. "Not today," Hudson shouted as he pivoted, catching the intruder off guard again. This time, he landed a solid kick, making the man stagger back against the barn wall. But Hudson knew better than to dwell on victories. He needed to reach Clara and Daisy. "Get out," he yelled to the shadows, hoping they could hear him. "Just run." The intruder recovered quickly, sneering as he prepared to lunge again. Hudson needed a distraction, something. He scanned the barn, eyes landing on a crate of spools and nails at the far end. With a sudden idea, he hurled a handful of nails toward the intruder, the sharp metal scattering across the floor like meteors. The man cursed, slipping slightly on the nails. It was enough of an opening. Hudson dashed toward the door, heart pounding, fear mingling with hope. If Clara had made it outside as he burst through the door into the moonlight, the fresh air hit him like a blast. The barnyard was empty, shadows stretched long across the ground. He spun around, breathless, searching for Clara and Daisy. "Clara?" he shouted, voice cracking. Nothing but the rustling of the night answered him. Where were they? A sinking dread filled Hudson's chest. He turned back to the barn, ready to rush back inside, but his feet rooted to the spot. A figure loomed in the entrance, backlit by the haunted starlight. "Now we play a different game," the intruder growled, stepping forward, a sinister smile playing across his lips that Hudson's heart raced anew as he felt chills seep into his bones. Just when hope had seemed within reach, despair now loomed close. What had he done? Was he too late? "Rustle not the leaves," the intruder warned with a low chuckle. "You might find what you're not looking for." Before Hudson could react, the figure lunged past him, disappearing into the shadows of the yard. That cold laugh echoed in his mind, and fear twisted in his gut. What new terror awaited them now? Who else was involved in this relentless nightmare lingering in the dark? Hudson clenched his fists, his mind racing, knowing he wouldn't stop until he found out. And yet, dread gnawed at him. In the haunting silence, little did he know that Clara and Daisy weren't in safety. They were being drawn deeper into the web of darkness he had unwittingly stirred. The night had just begun, and the storm was far from over. What would it cost him to uncover the truth? The night air was thick with an eerie silence that pressed against Hudson's skin like a vice. He stood frozen for a moment, heartbeat pounding in his ears. He strained to hear anything, a whisper, a movement, but the darkness held its breath around him. Dread swelled in his chest as he staggered further into the night. "Clara! Daisy!" His voice broke, desperation clawing through his throat. He sprinted toward the woods lining the barnyard, feeling the cool earth beneath his feet. Each step was a fear-laden gamble, each shadow a potential threat. What if the intruder wasn't he alone? Hudson's mind raced, spiraling with haunting images of Clara and Daisy in danger. The real horror sank in what if they were caught in the web he had tried to unravel? "Hudson, over here." A frantic voice shattered the silence, pulling him back to reality. His heart leaped at the sound. Clara. He dashed toward the voice, then froze at the sight that met him. There, at the edge of the clearing, the pale moonlight illuminated Clara and Daisy, crouched behind a large tree. Clara's eyes were wide with terror, her face pale in the harsh light. Daisy was pressed tightly against her, both girls shaking. "Get down," Hudson shouted, instinctively throwing himself in front of them as the dark figure appeared again, blocking their escape. The intruder stalked forward, a predatory look on his face as he focused on Clara. "Why, hello again," he sneered, advancing slowly. "Did you think hiding would save you? Run, now," Hudson yelled, turning to the girls. But in that moment, Clara's eyes locked with his, and Hudson saw not just fear, he saw resolve. "I won't let him hurt you," Clara said, defiance ringing out in her voice as she stood tall, pulling Daisy closer. "Clara, please." But Hudson's plea fell flat, heavy in the night air. He couldn't believe his eyes. She was willing to risk everything. The intruder just laughed, a low, chilling sound that echoed around them, each note saturated with menace. "Brave little girl, aren't you? But don't tuck your skirts too tightly. The darkness has a way of swallowing the brave whole." In a flash, he lunged, and Hudson's instincts kicked in. He He shoved the intruder away from Clara and Daisy, fists swinging. They grappled again, desperation coursing through Hudson's veins. But as the fight intensified, Hudson's focus began to waver. He couldn't hear anything outside their struggle, yet the shadows seemed to swirl with more figures. The hairs on his arms stood on end. "Something's coming," he gasped between gritted teeth, forcing strength into his arms to push the man back. A terrible sound ripped through the night, twigs snapping, a low growl, unrecognizable and menacing. The intruder's eyes flickered, filled with confusion and frustration. Those who rustle the leaves will find that the dark does not only feed on fear. He spat, glancing over his shoulder. Hudson seized the moment, shoving hard, sending the man stumbling back. He ran toward Clara and Daisy, grabbing their hands, ready to bolt when those sounds drew closer. "Move," he barked, and they took off into the woods, adrenaline blurring their surroundings as trees loomed like towering shadows. But what awaited them? Hudson's mind raced with thoughts of safety and escape, but the weight of uncertainty pressed heavy on his shoulders. Clara's grip tightened, fear mingling with determination. Then it happened. A sudden flash of light cut through the dark, illuminating the trees, and a roar erupted. Something massive and terrifying was nearby. Hudson skidded to a stop, heart racing. "What is that?" They turned back, just in time to see the intruder retreat into the shadows. Fear suddenly plastered on his face. "What's in the woods?" Clara whispered, eyes wide with fright. "I wish I knew," Hudson replied, dread creeping back in. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath them, and before they could process what was happening, screams tore through the dark. As they stood at the precipice of the unknown, a chilling voice broke through the chaos. "You shouldn't have run." Sweat dripped down Hudson's forehead. They were far from safe. What savage force stirred in the night? And how much of a price would they pay to find escape? The darkness loomed around them, heavy and cloying. Hudson could feel the air crackle with tension as he clenched Clara and Daisy's hands tighter. Heart pounding, he glanced back towards the shadows, where the intruder retreated, but his attention was drawn now to the unseen threat that rumbled ominously in the trees. "Keep moving," he urged, adrenaline surging through him. The forest felt alive, as if it were watching, waiting, and they were just prey in its grasp. Suddenly, another bone-jarring roar erupted, sending a shudder through the ground beneath them, and Hudson's resolve hardened. "We need to get to the light," he shouted. "The mansion is just ahead." Without waiting for a response, he bolted forward, pulling Clara and Daisy along with him. The closer they got, the more the night seemed to conspire against them, branches reaching out like claws, the shadows flickering as if alive. "What is that thing?" Clara gasped, her eyes wide with terror. "I don't know," Hudson yelled back, his breath coming in jagged gasps. "But we can't stop." As they burst into the clearing before the mansion, Hudson glanced back once more. The intruder was nowhere in sight, but that didn't mean they were safe. A frenzied light flickered in the distance, and the horrific sounds of chaos echoed through the night air, threatening to pull them back into darkness. "Get inside now," Hudson barked. They raced towards the grand entrance, his heart racing with every step. As he pushed against the heavy door, it swung open, revealing the interior bathed in soft light, a sharp contrast to the chaos unfolding outside. The air inside felt warmer, more inviting, but danger still lingered in the corners of his mind. "Call for help," Clara urged, still wide-eyed. Hudson nodded, ignoring the sting in his side as he grabbed his phone. He dialed frantically, praying for a swift answer. 911, "What's your emergency?" The calm voice on the other end cut through his haze. "There's been an intrusion. Someone's trying to hurt us, in my home." He spoke quickly, hoping urgency conveyed the gravity of the situation. "We need police now? Stay on the line with me," but Hudson barely heard the operator. He instinctively turned, scanning the room. "Where's the staff? Where's Juliet?" Clara asked, her voice trembling. "I don't know," he confessed, panic edging back in. "They should be here." Just then, he spotted a group clustered near the foyer, Juliet amongst them, eyes flicking between Hudson and the commotion outside. Relief washed over him, mixed with urgency. "Juliet, get everyone to safety," Hudson commanded, and the principles of authority he had wielded all his life emerged instinctively. "Lock the doors." But just as he said it, The windows rattled, a loud thud echoing as the intruder crashed against the side of the mansion, desperation lining his features. "This isn't over, Hudson," the intruder shouted, voice seething with hatred. Hudson felt fear tighten its grip, a reminder of the stakes at play. He turned to Clara and Daisy, who had found their way into a corner, fear woven into their expressions. "I won't let him hurt you," he assured them fiercely, his protective instincts flaring. "You need to protect us," Clara said, her voice stronger now, commanding. "You can do this, Hudson. You can be more than you were." That hit deeply, a flicker of recognition igniting something in him. Fear was real, but behind it lay the echoes of something larger, his chance to change the narrative. Anger surged through him, pushing aside doubts. "No more running. No more hiding," Hudson declared, taking a step forward, adrenaline pounding through his veins. But just then, sirens blared in the distance, a welcome sound that cut through the haze. The intruder hesitated, glancing around, recognizing the clock was ticking. "Leave now," Hudson shouted, bravely staring down the threat. "You made a mistake coming here." With a snarl, the intruder took a step back into the shadows. "You think this is over? It's just started," and with that, he melted into the night, lost to the darkness that sought to claim them. But Hudson remained, unmoving, heart pounding in his chest, facing what was left of his fears. Clara and Daisy crept closer, their expressions softening in relief. Hudson took a steadying breath as the sirens grew louder and the night began to shift. As flashing lights bathed the mansion in an eerie glow, Hudson turned to the girls. "Let us get you safe," he murmured, the warmth of protectiveness swelling within him. The ordeal showed him that family wasn't always blood. It was bonds forged through love, sacrifice, and connection. The police arrived moments later, sweeping through the entrance, eyes scanning every inch. Hudson felt a sense of solidarity coalesce, the certainty that he would fight for those who mattered starting here and now. "We're safe now," he said softly, looking into Clara's eyes. "I promise." "Yeah," Clara whispered, a newfound courage shimmering in her gaze. And in that moment, something remarkable happened. Hudson realized he was no longer just a businessman. He was a protector, a father figure, and a friend. As the sun began to rise on a new day, stained with the vestiges of darkness, Hudson felt the burden lift from his shoulders. They had faced the night, and though shadows may linger, they would step into the light together. This was just the beginning, and he knew he was stronger than ever. Now was the time to embrace the dawn. And hey, if you felt this journey with Hudson and the girls, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait even one more second. You don't want to miss any more amazing stories coming up. So, smash that like button now to show your support for the channel and help feed the algorithm. We all know it deserves the love. Lastly, flood the comments below with your thoughts and theories about what just went down, and don't forget to share this video with at least 5 friends. They need to see this incredible conclusion too. Let us keep this community growing together.